and welcome to the More Than Roommates podcast. I'm Dan, here with my roommate Graham. Graham, how are you doing this Sunday?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
Got some quality sleeping time after kind of a busy weekend. Sort of. I guess yesterday was pretty chill.
We had a very nice, rejuvenating weekend. We went to Phase Fest on Friday, so explain what that was.
I had to relive my youth. So Phase Fest it was just an outdoor festival at the Kansas City Monarchs Stadium, and they were like 5 bands that played the tunes of my youth.
Yeah, it was like
All American
2000s,
Rejects,
yeah.
Dashboard Confessional, Story of the Year.
Plain White Tees.
They were awesome. Yeah, Plain White Tees.
So it was emo.
Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and we missed the Ataris. We were a little late.
It was a
okay.
long, it was all those bands playing several songs. So it started at like 5 or 6, and
I thought for sure that they would have like a reduced set list. Like play 5 or 6, of their bangers, and call it good.
Yeah.
They like the headliners for sure played like an hour at least.
Yeah, so
it seemed like
the All American Rejects were the headliners, and they didn't even start playing until after 11.
Yeah,
and that guy was he was wild. I had never seen him like in person, or I don't know. He was crazy.
Their front man, I can't think of his name right now. I don't. Yeah, it's been too long.
But that was good. And then yesterday we went on a nice hike with Pepper, and then went to the pool for the first time
after hitting the gym. Got that arm day.
Yeah.
My arms are sore.
Yeah. So, but that was good. So we wanted to talk about today red flags in relationships. So not necessarily our red flags. We can talk about that towards the end, but do you have some things that, like, when you're looking at people or when you were dating, what were some major turnoffs or something that, like, holistically you don't think you could get over?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so many different, red flags and, potential partners that you really almost have to, like, just, get to know them first and kind of see, like, how they are as a person. But from, like, a general standpoint, I mean, obviously, like, any kind of, physical or emotional abuse would be like a number one, like the reddest of red flags.
I think one early sign for me that you could tell is how people treat servers and workers. Yesterday we went to Culver's, so good. And the kid that was at the window could not have been older than 15 or 16. He was super young. You could tell this was his first job, and he was really frazzled, and he like kept messing up his, like, what he was saying to me. And I was like, dude, you're good. Like, and I like turned to Graham and I was like, can you imagine people like going off on people do like young kids trying to work their first job? Like,
I mean, I can, because it happened to me.
Yeah, it happened to me too. But I'm like, as an adult now,
I know.
I'm like, it's
insanity.
There is no dire situation for me to get my burger that I have to go off on someone just trying to make a living and give
Ma'am, if they messed up your burger, you can tell them and get a new one.
And nicely. Nothing you don't have to scream.
Right. Nothing is that serious. Like, people must just be bored.
Yeah.
Or that's just how they are. Maybe.
Yeah. It's just how they learned how they get their way.
Yeah.
In relationships and stuff, by bullying and being passive aggressive.
Yeah. I think that's like a huge way to look at someone for sure too, when you're first getting to know them. Because like you said, I think people kind of come into a relationship really strong, like you want to put your best
foot forward,
your best face on, but things like that are like big indicators of what the person is probably actually like.
Yeah, like when you get to see them in a stressful situation.
Yeah.
I think another red flag is like how they talk to their parents or their family. Like if they're rude to them, that is something I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, what is the dynamic there? Yeah, for sure. I don't understand that either. But
also animals.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
don't like animals.
Or if dogs don't like you or them,
Yeah.
you know, that's a big deal too.
Yeah, but just treating living creatures well. Did you have one?
Yeah. I had one and then the animal thing kind of took over,
Yeah.
but I mean there's so many.
Yeah.
When you're first getting to know someone, a big red flag, you know, in my own, I guess, personal experience is like fluctuating attention. You know what I mean? Like if someone is really into you at first and then they go like silent for a bit, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you know, like and nothing apparently or overtly changed, you know, that's kind of a big deal. You gotta stop and think, okay, like, you know, what, like, you should never feel bad. I feel like red flags, like, they don't necessarily, you know, you don't have to make like a big huge laundry list, but I think it is about how someone makes you feel.
For sure.
And like you got to trust your instincts for sure.
But that is a good point that you brought up, because I do remember seeing that when I was dating people. Just like it depended on their mood if they wanted to talk with you, and that was like something like, you know, you could tell that they were bored and they're just like wanting to chat, and then like
they're using you as like an easy like
entertainment.
Free entertainment or whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I totally remember that, and just being like, okay, you have some downtime and now you just want to text, but then you don't want to periodically chat. That was something that you and I did well. Was
we hit
texting,
it off really well, and I'm a horrible texter. We've talked, and you kind of
I'm
are sometimes too.
Bland, dry. I don't really text. But what?
I was just gonna say, if you wanted to put like a label on that, I guess communication. You know what I mean? Communication is a huge part of, especially once you get into a relationship. Like if you have no communication skills, you really are going to have a really bad time.
And that was something that we established early. I hate passive aggressiveness. Like if there's something on your mind, say it with your chest. Like don't just be huffing and puffing and making me be like, okay. No, if something's bothering you, or if you're not ready to talk about it, say something is bothering me right now. I'm not in a good mood. And I'll be like, cool, I'm staying over there for now. But just like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's like, no, that is not gonna work. So definitely communication. That was something we talked about early. Just like, I don't want to be in a hostile house. I want it to, you walk in here and it's just good aura, good vibes. And if you're having an off day, let's figure out why, and not just like go on extended periods of time without talking. Like, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like we deal with a lot of that with like the people we interact with on the daily, like not saying what's on their mind and making us guess. And it's like,
I know it. And that's such a funny, slippery, not really slippery slope, but, you know, when you think about your own kind of like red flags and stuff too, I like to think, okay, how are my own other interpersonal relationships? You know what I mean? And like, it was kind of turbulent for a while with our personal relationships. Not us, not you and me, but
that's true. Like there's more red flags than just like in a couple that you're like someone you're pursuing.
Like if they don't have strong relationships or if they have volatile relationships, that's also probably a red flag, you know, or it should be something to consider, you know, like what's happening here, you know. And some of the stuff made me question, like, am I the problem?
Yeah,
like with friendships and stuff, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, just like being able to communicate and stuff like that is major, whether it is with a partner or with friendships. Like you don't want, I don't know.
Yeah, their red flags don't just have to apply to a partnership or relationship. It is really in any kind of relationship that you have. I'm even at work.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be real about it, like you got to be willing to work on yourself in any situation and understand, you know, your own triggers too. And I would say that is another probably like topic or red flag too. Like how does one handle their emotions? You know what I mean? Because it's a sign of maturity. You know, if you're, like you said, if you're willing to say, hey, I'm in a really bad mood, I don't want to talk about it right now. That's a heck of a lot more mature than just, like you said, the passive aggressive, kind of, I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to shut you out. I'm not going to talk to you. I might ignore you, or make you
Yeah.
feel like you're the problem.
Right.
Yeah, those are huge.
And
But
we've even experienced that. We've been talking about that the last several times we've exchanged with like people at fast food or coffee places. There's
yeah.
been several like the past few weeks where the people just have an attitude right off the bat, and I've like looked at Graham and like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like I try not to ask questions or anything. I try to just get through the line and then order food
And try to not take it personally.
But then like people
Yeah.
like were like throwing the food in the car, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like I
Bruh.
get everyone has bad days, but I just remember like when I worked in customer service, it's like you don't know what the person is going through that wants to get this burger. So just like as much as you can, why are you taking out your aggression on someone that's just trying to get a burger?
Mhm.
It's just very, like I remember you have those rough days, but it's like I would never let that impact. Like if someone was coming to get some ice cream, I would still put on the same face and just
And see, that's where I'm willing to like acknowledge my own red flags,
Okay.
just growing and developing as a person. And God bless my dad, you know what I mean? But he had kind of a short fuse, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like he was not a bad person at all. Don't take this the wrong
No.
way. Like he was never rude to people, you know what I mean? But like if people were rude to him, he would take it personally, and like it would quickly like change his mood, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you could tell like that the atmosphere would just
Yeah.
kind of change, and I would say like when I was younger, you know what I mean, especially even just working in fast food, like if someone copped an attitude with me, like I would give the same energy back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't try to act fake. You know what I mean? And I had moments where like I think we talked about this in an earlier episode, the people where like I almost like my like gut instinct was just to like walk away, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or like jump over the counter.
Yeah.
But it's just stuff like that. You have to kind of, and obviously like a teenage brain is different than an adult brain. And if you're still acting like a teenager or like a high schooler, especially, again, obviously that's a sign of maturity or
Yeah.
immaturity. But
Well, and with you
Yeah.
saying that, I feel like I might be developing a red flag because I feel like I'm the opposite. Where, yes, when I was in high school working those jobs, if people gave me an attitude, I would just like, oh, okay. Like I would play dumb, like, oh, okay, let me get that for you. Like pretend like I wasn't catching the signs that they're have a problem. But as I get older, I don't tolerate that. Like when we were getting our food and the people had an attitude, it's not worth it. Like for that 2-second interaction, I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, at work now, like if people do come up me sideways, I just shut it down and I'm just like, look, we're
as you should. You're in a professional environment.
Yeah, I'm like, dude,
like,
because
you
I've
gotta-
been talked to sideways a lot, and I'm just like, why
Mm-mm.
are you doing that?
Yeah.
We're working for the same thing. Like
That's
if
awful.
you're frustrated, so maybe that. But I will say
So respect.
Respect.
That's another big,
Yeah, but I will
flag
say
to look at. And
we-
disrespect would be the red flag, I guess.
Yeah. we can talk about our own red flags, and you kind of talked about that. And I will say I've noticed your growth even in the few years. Like you are just continually with your temper and stuff. Like it is just
Yeah.
leaps and bounds
it just,
better.
Yeah. I mean, green flags, you know what I mean? Like if you're with someone, you should want to better yourself.
Mhm.
Like with us, when we clicked immediately, and obviously, like, I'm going to back up a little bit here. Like,
relationships
relationships are hard. We have a fantastic relationship, but we really work at it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're two different people, two different, backgrounds. We have different things, ways we operate, just like any human, you know what I
Right.
mean? But it's a way we communicate with each other, and just a desire
To grow.
you know what I mean? Like you should never want to hurt your partner or take the easy passive aggressive route. Like you really, if you are doing that, again, you got to acknowledge that and you got to work on it,
Right.
and understand like, why am I acting this way? Like what is driving me to react this way? And you just have to sit down and have a conversation about it, and I'll be honest too, like I think like every once in a while I can be kind of passive aggressive without, and I don't do it on purpose, but like if there are like crumbs on the counter, I'm like, Daniel, can we clean this?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and again, yeah,
or
it's
whatever,
like,
but
and again, we're working towards that, but
it's just a matter of
and I think because we also met each other later in life, we didn't know each other when we were younger, so we did have these developed personalities. But
and that's fine. We got to be our own person too.
Exactly. But I am so happy that even though we are older, we're still willing to grow, and we're not set in our ways. Like we have kind of established that this is a new chapter of our lives, and I don't want to hold what I was doing before and be like, well, that's just how I was. That's also a red flag when people are like, well, that's just how I am, you got to deal with it. Bye then. If that's a problem and you're not willing to change, you gotta no. So, and that's something that it might seem weird or something, but we actually talk about like things that we're currently working on. So like one of my red flags, well, two of mine right off the bat, were I am messy, and I understand that Graham is very neat. So
I'm just the opposite. It's not like,
and I can't just be like, I'm just a messy person. Sometimes I say that, but I mean, and
that's when I get aggressive.
Yeah, and that's when I understand that it is a problem, and I am working on that. And then the other big thing that I was really bad about doing,
the way I conduct myself, is what I work on too, for sure. Yeah. On the flip side to that, like I try to not blow up right away. I just try to say, hey, can we please just keep stuff, straightened up or whatever, right?
Yeah, because at the beginning you were so afraid to bring up.
I was, because I didn't. Yeah,
and then you would just blow up, and then it would be 10 times worse rather than just being like, hey, clean up after yourself. And so, but my other red flag, and this is something that I've always, growing up, I've had people, but I get so like in my head that you could be talking to me, and if I'm thinking about something, I'm not paying attention at all.
I can see the look in your eye when it happens.
Yeah, I'm so glossed over. Like I remember in elementary school, my teacher said this story. I came to school, I was in 5th grade, and we had our morning like busy work, and you like had to go and get colored pencils or whatever. And I got to school, I was in the zone, I was getting my work done. The teacher starts the class and she's like, guys, I just want to bring attention to Dan. He was such a good kid. There was someone trying to talk to him all morning, and he knew he shouldn't be talking, and so he just tuned him out and didn't talk back to him. And I look at the kid and I'm like, you were trying to talk to me? I'm so sorry. I was like, that must have been rude.
Oh man, I would have been like, yeah, give me my gold star.
Yeah, I was just like, oh no, I was not trying to like tune
you admitted it?
I mean, I talked to the kid. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. He apparently was following me around trying to get my attention. Happened a couple times in my life where people were like, someone was trying to like tap you on the shoulder.
You were just deep in thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's something like I'll be on my phone and Graham will talk to me and I will just be checked out. So I'm working on paying attention, being an active listener, and not just being like, oh yeah, Now I feel like we're switching now that I've been working on it. Graham has, but I've told him, like, when he's brought it up, I'm like, I acknowledge that is really jerky of me to do that. So I will practice. Like, I catch myself like tuning him out and I'm like, no, that's not cool. But now, sometimes you tune me out. So we're working on that.
Somehow, I don't know, like what changed there. You know what I mean?
But yeah, so that's kind of.
I think phone time is a big thing. We need to just like
put them down,
dedicate, and say, hey, like I want to hang out with you and be present in the moment and not in
TikTok,
whatever Pokemon Go or TikTok or Facebook or whatever the social distraction is.
For sure. So I know you're working on that. There was something new that I was working on that like it came up recently that I was like, I know, I can't remember. Do you? When it comes up, though, we know.
I don't know.
Remember, though, but I did say, okay, that's like the next thing I'm working on improving.
Yeah, you
I
did.
can't remember. But yeah, I'm like trying to check things off because it's like, yeah, I don't understand the people that are like, well, I'm just like that.
And relationships are work, you know, like it's, you constantly should be thinking like no one is perfect. You may want to think you're perfect, not you, but you know what I mean. People in general, in general, you know, like you really have to consider your own, you know, the way you make people feel. And,
well, and essentially, like back to the name of this podcast, More Than Roommates, we are essentially investing in a long-term roommate. And it's like, yeah, you have to live together, so you might as well make it as peaceful as you can. So
yeah, why wouldn't you, you know?
Yeah. And so I posed the question online about what people's roommates, and we had someone say, or not roommates, red flags.
Oh, we can't check because,
no, but someone said that Taylor, who suggested this topic, Taylor, thank you for that. But
thanks for the recognition
on the gains. She said that a red flag is people that not travel a lot, move around a lot and can't stay, or no, not move around, jump around jobs, can't hold down a job, constantly changing, like stuff like that. So I can see that. I have a couple people that like just are very, and there's a coolness to spontaneity, but like if you can't commit and hold it down to the point that you're helping yourself, but if you're like can't hold it down to the point that you're like needing financial assistance, that's something you got to work on.
Yeah,
we all fall on hard times, but we all know those people in life that every time you meet them, they've got a whole new scheme going on, a whole new like way of life.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's again something to think of, you know, like if you're trying to pursue something, like even a friendship with a person, you know, they could be, you know, up and gone and like a, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's a fair point for sure.
I also think a red flag too is like just complainers. The older I get,
don't be a Debbie Downer.
Don't get me wrong, I love a good vent session, but the people that just like can never be
like happy in any way,
like even at work especially, like, you know, those people that no matter what the company does, they're like, well, and it's like, what do you expect? Like ultimately, like, and this is as I'm growing and getting older, you know, like work is work. You're there to do a task and you get paid for it, but you know,
it's still a big part of your identity though, and you want to make sure you're doing what you love, you know what I mean? So if you don't, I could see, is that where you're going with this?
No, sorry, I'm saying like when your company has like a party and a celebration, and then people complain, oh well, they could have used that money to give us all raises, and it's like
and all the people that live in the city that are mad when like something gets painted, they're like, oh, you could have put those dollars into the roads like, that are just gonna crumble in like 6 months again, you know. Which, don't get me wrong, like that's important, but
but it's like exactly, but people in the city that, oh, they're doing this, well, what about that? It's like, well, they got to start somewhere. And like, okay, your company's doing a work thing and like enjoy that, or don't, like, just don't show up. But the people that complain to complain, and it's like, yeah, you're there to do the job, you're getting your paycheck, and they also want to throw a party every once in a while. Like, and again, I'm also like,
don't give me my money.
Don't worry about the establishment. Like, I'm not like,
I don't need a pizza party.
But I'm also like, okay, if they're trying, like, it's not the end of the world that you got a pizza today. Like,
right.
Just clock your hours and get home. I don't know what to tell you.
Or go find a different career if you're really unhappy. Like, why make everyone? Because it makes everyone miserable. I mean, like your job, your work, that is a huge part of life. I'm sorry, like no matter what way you cut it, like I'm not saying that everyone is gonna find like the perfect career or perfect job, but if you're that critically unhappy to where it's like noticeably carrying through to your interpersonal relationships, you know, I feel like we've had friendships like that, and you know what happens, they expire, you know what I mean, eventually, and it's, You know what I mean? No matter what level of effort you put into it, like eventually you're gonna get tired of hearing complaints. Or on the flip side, you're gonna hear from other friends that they've been complaining about you.
Yeah,
You know?
yep. You always got to, if you, that's what someone
Yeah.
said, that like if your friendship is built around
Like
complaining,
drama. Yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
it's ever going to be. And then also know that they're going to be doing that about you. And I think I've realized that about some friendships recently, that I'm sure that they're venting too about us. So
Yeah.
you got to take that with a grain of salt too.
Yeah, and it's just sad too because you want to have that open communication with the friend. You want them to, if you're really that close, you want them to feel comfortable enough to just come to you or be like, hey, can we like chat, or can we grab, coffee or something? And like, I'm feeling kind of insecure about, our friendship or whatever. Like, if something you did that maybe you didn't think was a big deal affected their emotions,
Yeah.
like you should just try to address it with them and, you know what I mean, move forward, because the reactionary stuff just makes it
So
very
much worse.
hard, like all around, because then you're insecure or you're upset and it's
Yeah.
just kind of like a violent, like
Circle.
cycle,
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah,
Well, this was kind of a rambly podcast, but
it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Though, as and we want to be a role model to whoever may be watching. Like we're hoping to reach, at least some, like LGBTQIA plus whatever, to see how a healthy relationship should look like. You know, and we're hoping that maybe just our discussion here will kind of help you like think about yourself, your own, the way you operate, or if you're
things you're looking
in a
for.
relationship right now and like you're questioning things, that's probably a red flag right there too.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this conversation helps.
Yeah.
I mean,
So please comment below, what are your red flags?
or what are like the biggest, like red flags that are like a no-go for you if you're trying to find a friend or a relationship partner or whatever.
Yeah, please. I'm curious. I want to hear what people have to say, but
Because there's so many, like I'm sure we barely scratched the
for
surface.
sure.
Like
yeah.
yeah.
But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, we upload episodes every Thursday.
We try.
We're pretty consistent. We missed
Yeah.
it a couple of times here and there, but and then comment below what your red flags are, and we will see you next week.
Yep.